Kobe once had this to say about Allen Iverson.
People nowadays realize how great you were as a player.
This African-American kid, standing only 6 feet tall, made history by standing out among the strongest golden generation ever. At his peak, he dared to challenge authority. If he didn't like someone on the court, he'd make sure they ended up in his highlight reel. However, behind all the glory, no one knew what he had been through. Like most NBA stars, Iverson came from a single-parent family. His mother had him when she was just 15, and he only met his biological father 3 times in his life. Iverson had no fixed abode in his childhood, and the food he ate was so poor that even dogs wouldn't eat it. Despite not being born with a silver spoon in his mouth, he was blessed with extraordinary athletic talent. Even before he officially started playing basketball, Iverson had already made a name for himself in the world of football. Although he wasn't physically strong, his speed was extremely fast, and his basketball IQ was very high. On the field, no one could stop him if he set his mind to it. He won the state football championship, was named the Player of the Year, and swept all the awards. He had no peers among people his age. In basketball, Iverson was equally talented. 3 days after winning the football championship, he led his team to win the state basketball championship, averaging 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. He was undoubtedly the strongest high school student. However, when he was at his most proud, disaster struck. On Valentine's Day in 1993, Iverson was unfortunately arrested for being involved in a bowling brawl between blacks and whites. He was accused of instigating the incident. A white woman claimed that Iverson had attacked her with a chair, but the surveillance footage from the time showed that Iverson had left the bowling alley before the fight started. But in the end, the court still sentenced him to 5 years in prison, which was enough to bring down a proud young man. Although he was pardoned and released from prison 4 months later with the help of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the negative impact of the incident was still too great. Before going to prison, Iverson had received invitations from dozens of prestigious schools, but now not a single school was willing to accept him. At this moment, his mother stepped forward. She took Iverson around, begging for mercy. In the end, John Thompson, the coach of Georgetown University, was moved by this mother and son. He was willing to take a risk and give Iverson a chance. In his first year of college, Iverson dared not slack off or waste his talent. For this, he put in 100 times the effort, stood out from a group of talented kids, averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. With his strong mental power, Iverson overcame his disadvantage of being short. In his second year of college, Iverson became more and more freakish and brave, often destroying the opponent's entire defense line by himself. On the court, he fought for every ball and treated every round as if it were the last attack. Averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, Iverson ignited the passion of all the spectators on the scene with his unparalleled performance. He became a college star player that attracted worldwide attention. After the end of his sophomore season, Iverson's sister suddenly fell seriously ill, and the economic burden on his family became heavier and heavier. So he made an important decision. He entered the NBA early. The 1996 draft was a golden generation in NBA history with Kobe, Marbury, Ray Allen, Nash. All of them were superstars with unlimited potential. But the star of the night was destined to belong to this 6-foot genius. When Iverson was selected by the 76ers as the first overall pick, the whole of Philadelphia fell into a frenzy. This #1 guard in the country gave Philadelphia fans a glimpse of the dawn of a resurgence. But after all, he had just stepped into the league, and the outside world didn't have much expectation for Iverson's rookie year, because how could a small guy adapt to the NBA so quickly? However, no one would have thought that in the first game of his rookie season, Iverson slapped everyone in the face. With 30 points and 6 assists in the entire game, Iverson stunned the entire basketball world with a perfect debut. In the following games, Iverson became more stable and powerful. Every second he stepped onto the court, he was fighting for real. His fluid dribbling and magical crossover made him a nightmare for other players in the league. Even the supreme ruler of the basketball world couldn't escape being crossed over. That year, Iverson, without a doubt, won the Rookie of the Year, and the management also saw the hope of winning the championship. They specially invited Larry Brown to be the new head coach of the team, hoping that he could inject fresh blood into the team. However, things didn't start as expected. Iverson was naturally rebellious and did things his own way. Larry Brown was stubborn and strict in his coaching. When two people with unique personalities came together, it was inevitable that sparks would fly. But fortunately, they had the same goal, both hoping that the team could compete for the championship. Under the careful guidance of Coach Brown, Iverson transformed from a pure scorer into a true leader of the team. However, while he was shining on the court, he was subjected to a lot of suppression and ridicule off the court. Many people criticized him for his rebellious attitude and gangster-like appearance, but Allen Iverson didn't care. With his cornrows and tattoos, he became a representative of African-American hip-hop culture, perfectly integrating it into basketball. His eccentric attire was something that NBA players always wanted but never dared to try. Iverson, however, pioneered this trend, and for a time, the entire league was swept up in a tattoo craze. Iverson was adored worldwide and became an icon for young people to emulate. With the start of the 2000 to 2001 season, Iverson was about to enter the best year of his career. Averaging 31.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game, Iverson single-handedly led the 76ers to 56 victories. It was in this season that he won numerous honors, including scoring champion, steals leader, regular season MVP, All-Star MVP, and more. In the playoffs, Iverson carried the team on his back, leading a group of blue-collar players on a difficult championship journey. In the first round, they eliminated the Pacers, led by Reggie Miller, and then through two brutal 7-game series, they respectively eliminated the Raptors, led by Carter, and the Bucks, led by Ray Allen. The team they would face in the finals was the formidable Lakers, with Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, the most terrifying duo in the league, who had easily advanced to the finals with an undefeated record of 11 wins. The intense battles in the Eastern Conference playoffs had left Iverson battered and bruised, with as many as 11 injuries all over his body. Almost everyone believed that the Lakers would easily defeat the 76ers 4-0 to create a history of undefeated championship. As expected, as soon as the first game started, the Lakers played a dream start of 14-0, and the sweeping cheers echoed throughout the Staples Center. A guy weighing only 70 kilograms, trying to score in front of a 300-pound Shaq, was simply a pipe dream. Watching the score gap widen step by step, how could this man of steel willingly submit? Everyone thought he was bound to lose, but he insisted on getting up and giving it a brave try. With his indomitable will, Iverson single-handedly turned the tide, scoring a terrifying 48 points in the game, and overturned the OK combination that was in full swing. The scene of him crossing over Tyronn Lue also became a classic moment in NBA history. Although the Lakers eventually won the finals, in many people's hearts, Iverson was already a king without a crown. His legend continued, but his fate began to decline. Because of his flamboyant personality and unconventional attire, Iverson was subjected to a lot of suppression and ridicule. He was portrayed by the outside world as a violent and arrogant character. He was involved in gun possession and had disputes with his wife, and he didn't attend training. The targeting of public opinion and the media made Iverson disheartened. No one listened to his explanation, and he didn't want to explain. In the end, he was abandoned by Philadelphia. At the age of 31, Iverson left the place where his dream began and went to the Denver Nuggets to form a golden duo with Carmelo Anthony. He wanted to start a new chapter here, but unfortunately, he was wrong. He was once again abandoned by Denver and sent to the Detroit Pistons. When he arrived in Detroit, he was told that he could only be a substitute. Of course, this rebellious man was not willing to comply. After several twists and turns, Iverson fell into a situation where he had no ball to play. He thought of retiring and returning to his family. However, fate is that you never know what surprise will come next, and he had the opportunity to return to the 76ers. At the press conference, he choked up at the strong call of the fans, and Philadelphia once again won back their hero. When Iverson passionately kissed the home court, everyone was moved to tears for this aging hero. Unfortunately, fate played a trick on him again. Because of his daughter's illness, Iverson had to leave Philadelphia and go to Turkey alone. However, after only 10 games, Iverson suffered a calf injury and had to return to the United States for treatment. Since then, he has never returned to Turkey. On October 31, 2013, this man who had defied the heavens officially announced his retirement in Philadelphia.